Hello folks, Everchanger here, and welcome to the final episode of Pokemon Crystal. Last time, we had our face-off with Blue, and we obtained our 16th Pokemon League Gym Badge. We also did quite a few other things. It was a really interesting time. Anyway, this time, as you might expect, we are going to be finishing the game. But first things first, I would like to go over a couple of things. First, we had an extra HP up that I applied to our Feraligatr. In addition, we also had 3 rare candies, and I gave them all to Heracross because Heracross is very close to getting a new move, and I'd like to give it at least a chance of getting that move. I think it gets it at level 54. It might get it, it might not. And also, I have finally taken the liberty of teaching Crobat Toxic in place of Mean Look. Toxic is a really great move for reasons I have explained in the past, so it's definitely good to finally have it. Also, these are Heracross's stats since they have, of course, now changed because it has leveled up. Anyway, I'd like to go over something really quickly right here before we start things off proper, and that is the Pokégear phone number system. I'd like to give a comprehensive overview of absolutely everything having to do with this feature. Now, it's worth noting, in Generation 2, your phone card can only hold 10 numbers at once, and that includes any numbers that are unable to be removed, which are your mother and Professor Elm. Also, I'd like to apologize if some of this info is inaccurate. I don't think it is, but for whatever reason, this feature is really not very well documented on the internet, so I've just tried to compile everything I could in a way that makes sense and what I remembered from my childhood when playing the game. So anyway, first things first, we are going to be starting off with the special characters, namely Professor Elm. Now, on the surface, Professor Elm doesn't appear to be the most interesting character when it comes to phone calls you receive from him, because he mainly calls for storyline purposes. We've seen every single call he can possibly give you in the series, except for one. He will call you if you happen to contract something very interesting called the Pokerus. Yes, I am actually going over this. Basically, what the Pokerus is it is a special status condition that has a 3 in 65,536 chance of appearing on a wild or bred Pokemon. You can either obtain the virus by capturing this wild Pokemon, obtaining this bred Pokemon, or through battle, the virus may naturally spread to your party Pokemon. And after that, the virus can actually spread between your party Pokemon. Now, this virus can stay on your Pokemon between 1 and 4 days, and will randomly expire at midnight if this Pokemon is in your party. If it is in the PC, the virus will not expire. Now, what does this virus actually do? It will double all stat gains on the infected Pokemon, except those stat gains that are obtained via feeding it vitamins. Now, one thing that is also worth noting about the Pokerus is that this effect does not wear off when the Pokemon is cured of Pokerus. The only thing that goes away when your Pokemon is cured is its ability to spread the virus to others. Its positive effects will remain. Now, on screen right now, you can see the phone call that Professor Elm will give you, and the dialogue the Pokemon Center nurse will give you if you go and heal your Pokemon when one of them has the Pokerus. Notably, none of these dialogues actually mention what the virus does, so the only way you would actually know for sure is if you're paying really close attention to your Pokemon stats, or you looked it up online like most people do. The next major character on our list here is, of course, the player's mother. If you call up your mother, she will actually give special dialogue depending on your location in the world. You can also call her to change your preference on whether or not you want her to continue to save your money, and she will also tell you how much money you currently have in your, quote, account, unquote. She will also call you, of course, to inform the player of purchases she has made with the money you have stored, and the tables for that are on screen right now. We've gone over every single item on this list during the Let's Play, except for the big Snorlax doll right there at the bottom of the list, mainly because I have not earned enough money to obtain this. This is a special class of doll known as a big doll, and these dolls will be placed in the corner of the player's bedroom out of the way of the two smaller dolls which occupy the desk. This is the only big doll you can obtain normally in Pokemon Crystal without communicating with any other game. Now, those first two phone numbers you obtain during the storyline, and it is impossible to skip them. However, the next special character on our list is Bill. You can obtain his phone number from his sister at his house in Goldenrod City after you have met him in the Ecruteak City Pokemon Center. Bill is a very, very valuable character because if you call him, he will tell you how many Pokemon you have stored in the current box that is loaded into memory in the Pokemon storage system. He will also automatically call you when one of these boxes completely fills up. Now, this last special character is a little bit weird, mainly because I can't actually find any evidence that this is in Pokemon Crystal. The only evidence I can find is the fact that Bulbapedia and Serebii both say it's in the game, but I can find no footage and no dialogue regarding these phone calls. So if you can prove with video evidence that this is in the game, please let me know in the comments. This character is Buena, who runs the Buena's Password radio show at the Goldenrod Radio Tower. You can allegedly obtain her phone number if you can fill your blue card with 30 points without spending any. Now, she doesn't actually offer much of a service when you call her. She will simply offer strange little tips and stories if she is called or if she calls you. The remainder of the phone numbers you can obtain in this game are all going to be from regular NPC trainers that you defeat in battle throughout your journey. Now, several of these trainers actually have additional services that they will offer you in addition to simple rematches. The first ones are the ones on screen right now, who will call you in the event of a Pokemon swarm. Now, it's worth noting you'll probably want to watch this part of the video at 1080p, just because there's a lot of data presented in table form. This next set of trainers will call you to alert you to special events taking place throughout the world. Wade will alert you to the bug catching contest, and Todd will alert you to the rooftop sale. Now, I never actually gave the full inventory of the rooftop sale simply because I didn't ever have it appear throughout the series, so that appears on screen right now. Next up, we have this set of 4 trainers that I mentioned throughout the series as we encountered them. These 4 trainers will give out evolutionary stones. Now, unlike those 4 trainers, these 5 will only give out their items upon defeating them in a rematch. This is the way you can get free HP ups, carbos, protein, calcium, and iron throughout your journey. Now it's time for the etc. category. These 4 trainers will sometimes call you up to offer you free items that didn't fit into any other category. These items are berries, Pokeballs, Pokedolls, and star pieces. These last 3 trainers are very similar to the previous 4, except they will only give out their items under specific conditions. The first 2 require a specific Pokemon to be present in the player's party, while the last one is actually time sensitive, which is the only one in the game to be like this. This is how you can get free nuggets and PP ups throughout your journey. And of course, here's a master list of all 28 trainers in the game who you can get a rematch with if they are to call you. Their names and locations are listed on the table on screen right now. And believe it or not, that is absolutely everything to go over with the phone function in this game. So, back to the video. And with that mammoth of a feature out of the way, it is time to get started here. We are going to be heading right over to Professor Oak's lab. Man, I cannot believe we're already at this point. Wow, that's excellent. You collected the badges of gyms in Kanto. Well done. I was right in my assessment of you. Tell you what, David, I'll make arrangements so that you can go to Mount Silver. Mount Silver is a big mountain that is home to many wild Pokemon. It's too dangerous for your average trainer, so it's off limits. But we can make an exception in your case, David. Go up to Indigo Plateau. You can reach Mount Silver from there. How is your Pokedex coming? Let's see. We have 207 seen and 33 owned. I don't think this has changed since the last time we spoke to Professor Oak. You're getting good at this, but you have a long way to go. You'll notice he gave an assessment of our Pokedex and a little jingle played. I would like to go over these right now. There are 5 different jingles that will play, but unfortunately, the originals have never actually been released on OST. The only ones that have been released are the remastered versions from Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So I'd like to play those right now and also show the 19 assessments that Professor Oak can give your Pokedex. It's worth noting, Mew and Serebii do count towards these assessments. I should also note that the jingles don't necessarily correlate with the assessments that are on screen at the time that they're playing because, let's be honest, no one on the internet keeps track of that information. But either way, here's all that stuff for your viewing and listening pleasure. And with that done, it is time to head off to the Pokemon League reception gate. And here we are. We were here last time when we noted that the guard that used to stand here was gone, and now that we have had that conversation with Professor Oak, this guard is also gone, and we may go through to Route 28, the final route on our journey. Route 28. It doesn't say where it goes. Interesting indeed. Now, there are no trainers on this route, and there's really not a whole lot here for you, but there is one teeny tiny little thing I would like to show in this area because it could potentially be useful for an upcoming battle. As you can see, this area will transition into an area known as Silver Cave, and there is a Pokemon Center right there, but if we wrap around this way, we may use Cut, and use Cut a second time, and we can access a new area on Route 28 that you cannot access from the get-go. That is this house. Inside, we have this woman who has a Fearow. Might seem familiar to red, blue, and yellow players. Oh dear, you've found me. Please don't tell anyone about me. I'll give you this for keeping my secret. Please? And she will give us another TM47 for Steel Wing. This is actually the second one in the game, which is really, really interesting. This character was actually the recluse who lived in the random house on Route 16 in Kanto during the events of Generation 1. Seems she ran all the way out here after her fan club caught up with her. Really interesting indeed. One last little throwback for you. And if we walk all the way back over here, we have one last rare candy. This is the last rare candy in the entire game that we can find in the overworld, and I would like to use this because Heracross is very close to learning a new move. If we use this on our Heracross, it will grow to level 54, and it will try to learn Megahorn. This is a slightly inaccurate but extremely powerful bug-type move. Like, it's crazy. And it doesn't even have recoil or anything, which is awesome. So I think we're going to get rid of Fury Cutter for it. And now, Heracross finally has Megahorn. I was actually kind of worried that we would not get Megahorn during this series, so it's really, really nice to see that we are actually able to get it. Anyway, gonna hop down this way, and of course Repel's effect wears off. With that refreshed, we may head back over into Silver Cave, because those are the only 2 items we can get on Route 28. Now, this little outside area, Silver Cave right here, there is one item hiding out here somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but I think it's around here somewhere. Wow, that was an incredible guess. there is a hidden full restore. I definitely recommend grabbing that. It could be extremely useful to you. Anyway, we should check out this Pokemon Center, and there's only one old lady out here. Trainers who seek power climb Mount Silver despite its many dangers. With their trusted Pokemon, they must feel they can go anywhere. Now, since we don't actually need to heal our Pokemon, I guess we should just head right on back outside. With that, there is nothing else for it. Right here, Mount Silver. This is the last cave in the game. Oh man, I cannot believe we are actually here and we're actually doing this. As you can see, it is dark in this area, so you're going to want to bring a Pokemon with Flash to light the area. Now, in this first chamber right here, there are two new Pokemon that you have access to. The first one is Magmar, during the day only. Yes, not even during the morning, just during the day. Kinda crazy. Only now, if you do not hatch a Magby from the odd egg, are you able to obtain this Pokemon. Yeah, took them frickin' long enough. But yes, you can also breed this Magmar that you capture in order to get Magby. So that is finally those two squared away. Now this room right here actually has quite a few hidden items scattered around it, and I'd recommend grabbing all of them. Right here we have an Ultra Ball, which is honestly useless to me at this point in our adventure, but it's still really nice to have if you are going to be playing the game after completing everything and going around and catching Pokemon. We have a Dire Hit right there, and then we may loop back around this way, and right on over here we have another way that goes up. Now this area is really confusing, and if you want to grab everything, you're going to have to loop around this area a lot, so just keep that in mind. Anyway, right over here we have a Max Elixir, which can definitely be useful, and I just noticed my reference map does not have this staircase that I'm standing on it. That's very strange. I wonder if that's only in Crystal and not in Gold and Silver, because it seems like a really random thing to have happen. Anyway, last up, right here, we have yet another Ultra Ball. Very nice. This chamber has 6 items in total in it, so once you've gotten all of them, you may proceed onwards into this chamber. Now, this chamber does not require Flash, so if you can get here without a Pokemon with Flash, you are good. Right there we have a Max Potion, and there is one final Pokemon that we have to go over in this area. In this chamber only, and including some small annex chambers that we are going to be visiting pretty much right now, actually, are the only place in the game where you can find the Pokemon Misdreavus, only at nighttime. This is the only ghost type that was introduced in Pokemon Gold and Silver. And for whatever reason, they put it all the way out here instead of having it available earlier in the game and having Morty use one. No clue what the motivation behind that decision was. It's absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, this area over here, aside from the items you can get, is a dead end. So we are going to be heading over this way, and I believe, yes, there is an item right here. Yet another Ultra Ball. Honestly, they give you a lot of Ultra Balls in this area, but I think medicines of various kinds would have definitely been the better way to go, just because this area, there is a fight at the end of this area, in case you could not have guessed this already, so keep that in mind. You want to get a lot of really good items and things to go through here. Now, I would also recommend grinding to a higher level than my Pokemon currently are. The only reason I haven't done this is, to be honest, I don't have the time. So, hopefully we will survive what awaits us. Anyway, right there is the final full restore in the entire game. And with that, we have every single ground item, as far as I can tell, in the entire world of Pokemon Crystal. That was the absolutely last one, which is insanity. Now, I should note, we have quite a few items in our backpack right here, so I'm going to use Protein on Heracross, I think. Gonna use PP up. I think we'll use that on Heracross's Megahorn since we just got it. And I will use Calcium on Espeon. You definitely want to use as many of these items as you can in this area right before the absolute final end of our adventure, which is right through here. Let's do it. Now, I want you to prepare yourself for one of the most iconic moments in this entire series. Oh man, I cannot believe we're actually at the end of this game. This is Pokemon Trainer Red. This is the man who Blue faced off against 3 years ago and lost. This is the man who used to hold the title of Pokemon Champion. And this is the player character from Generation 1. That is an awesome idea for a final boss, and I cannot believe they have not used this again since. They had a perfect opportunity in Generation 5, but didn't go for it. Anyway, he starts off with a Pikachu, level 81, with the moves Charm, Quick Attack, Thunderbolt, and Thunder. Yeah, I mentioned a difficulty spike earlier in the series. This is it. Level 81? Are you for real? I recommend starting off with your absolute strongest ground type user. If someone on your team does not know Earthquake, make sure you rectify that, because you need a very, very powerful Earthquake to take this thing out, which we just have. Very, very good. Also worth noting, it is very, very fast. You do not want to get hit by that Thunderbolt or Thunder, so you want to have something out on the field that is outright immune to that, otherwise you are going to have problems. Anyway, next up is Venusaur, level 77 with the moves Sunny Day, Giga Drain, Synthesis, and Solar Beam. Crobat quad resists most of this, which is why I am sending out next. Now, one thing I did not mention about this music, the first few times we've heard it, is that it has a phenomenal arrangement in Pokemon Symphonic Evolutions. If anyone has not attended that show, or is unable to attend that show, I highly recommend you look up the arrangement to this song, because it is good. Like, really, really good. I am one of the few fans who has been blessed to see it in person, and man, oh man, it is outright moving. It's crazy good. So good. Anyway, down goes Venusaur, and as you can see, since his Pokemon are incredibly strong, you're going to get a lot of experience from battling this guy if you plan on continuing your adventure after defeating him. Anyway, next up he is sending out Espeon, level 73, with the moves Mud Slap, Swift, Reflect, and Psychic. You're probably seeing a pattern with his team. His team is very, very heavily based on the special Pokemon that you can get throughout your journey in Pokemon Yellow. And yes, at the very end of my Pokemon Yellow LP, I did foreshadow Red's team. Huge props to anyone who actually caught that. Now, this Espeon has a crazy, powerful psychic attack, so I'm probably going to have to bail and use healing items on this fight, because this is easily the hardest fight in the game, and if you want to have an easy time in this fight, you have to grind a stupid amount, and I'll be honest, I simply do not have the time to do this, so we're going to rough it with the team you see on screen right now, and I think we can do it. I hope we can do it, because I'm recording this video the day before it is due out, so hopefully things go well. Anyway, gonna try another bite, and my Espeon is still holding the black glasses, as you might imagine. Apart from any changes I made note of prior to this fight, everything else is the same, held items and things like that, so you do not have to worry, you have not missed anything. aside from a couple of moveset changes, everything is exactly the same as it was when we fought the Elite Four, except for, of course, the levels. Alright, next up is the behemoth of his team. Next up is Snorlax. I don't actually have too terribly good of a counter for this thing, so we're just going to go with Heracross and see what happens. Snorlax is level 75 with the moves Amnesia, Snore, Rest, and Body Slam. That Rest-Snore combo can be a little dangerous, and that Amnesia is going to drive up its defense considerably. So I wanted Heracross to get Megahorn just to see how much damage it would do, because we need to hit this thing like a truck, because it will hit back like a truck. Like, just watch this. Yeah. Huge amount of damage right there, and unfortunately Heracross misses Megahorn, but at least Megahorn got its time in the sun, although it was only for that one time. Alright, I think next up we're probably going to have to... I think I'm going to go back into Marowak. I think Marowak can survive a Body Slam from this thing, so I'm going to try and hit it with Earthquake, and Marowak is actually pretty fast, which is good. I'm not sure how much Earthquake is going to do. Ooh, not much actually. Ugh. I'll be honest, out of all the Pokemon on his team, Snorlax, I find, is always the most difficult to counter. Also, I have not used Bone Rush yet in this series, and I'm kind of morbidly curious to see what it does, because I actually did not look it up prior to recording this episode. Okay, it's a multi-hit move, which is interesting. Alright, he's a little low, and he's going to hit us with another Body Slam. That is going to hurt a lot. So, yeah, we have a bit of an issue on our hands right here. I think I'm going to switch into Espeon, because I think Espeon will be able to outspeed this thing, and I'm going to blast it with my most powerful psychic attack I can muster, and hopefully it'll bring this thing down. Because if it doesn't, I will be very, very concerned. Oh, no. Oh. Just like choked on my own spit right there. Oh man, that is bad news. That is really, really bad news, and I will tell you why it is bad news. Oh wow, he actually doesn't have healing items, or I mean, if he does, like, he didn't use them right there. Not sure why, but that is incredibly lucky. If that Snorlax gets off a rest, you're gonna be moved to tears, and not in a good way. Ugh. Anyway, next up we have Blastoise, and I think Electabuzz will be a good counter for this thing. Blastoise is level 77 with the moves Rain Dance, Blizzard, Surf, and Whirlpool. Surf and Blizzard, very good choices, especially with that Rain Dance right there to power up Surf. Whirlpool, however, is still garbage. I really don't recommend it, and if it hits you with it, the most dangerous thing about it is that it prevents you from switching out. But anyway, we're going to send in Electabuzz, blast this thing with a Thunderbolt, and hopefully... Oh wow, that was a critical and it didn't even go down. That's crazy. Ugh. Also, I think that's the first time we've actually seen Whirlpool get used in this series, which is kind of interesting. Whirlpool is basically a water-type variant of Fire Spin, so we're going to be hit by that every single turn. And does he, like, not have healing items? I could have sworn he did. But maybe he doesn't, because we got really lucky right there. Blastoise goes down. And with that, his last Pokemon is Charizard. As Charizard is his last Pokemon, I think we'll use our first to take it down. I feel like it will be very poetic and a good end to this fight. Charizard is level 77 with the moves Flamethrower, Wing Attack, Slash, and Fire Spin. Quite scary, and it is very fast, so you want to keep that thing's speed in mind, because otherwise you are going to have a bit of an issue. We'll just say that. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know if Surf can one-shot this thing. It's possible, but I'm not counting on it. Yeah, not even close. And of course we have the Fire Spin again, but honestly, I think we have this in the bag, because Flamethrower, like, it's not going to do 169 damage to Feraligatr. Also, it looks like no one's actually making it to 200 HP this series, which means all of our max potions are effectively useless because hyper potions can do the job just fine. And speaking of doing the job just fine, with that final surf attack, that is the end of Pokemon Crystal. We have defeated Red, the player character from Generation 1. Oh my god, it's actually over. Wow, this game was an experience. Even many, many years after it was released, it is still an experience. This series was crazy. I had to pour a lot of work into the behind the scenes on this series to make sure everything came out just the way I liked it. And I think for that reason, this is probably one of the best series I've produced on this channel. But man oh man, it took a lot of effort to put together. I really enjoyed it though. Now, one last thing that I should note, if you want to battle Red again, he will respawn at Mount Silver every single time you defeat the Elite Four. So if you want to battle him again, that is how you can get him to come back. Now, I haven't talked about absolutely everything that I'd like to talk about with regards to Pokemon Crystal. And for that reason, I do have a couple of ideas going around in my head for some bonus videos for this series, just to cover some loose ends on random things that really just didn't have a place in the series as I did it. Now I should note, those bonus videos are probably going to take quite a bit of effort to put together to collect all of the information and various things like that, and for that reason I would not expect them to come out right away. You'll have to give me a little time on this because I am a senior engineering college student, and I do have other responsibilities, so you're going to have to bear with me on that. But yes, if you hang around for those, they will be coming in the relatively near future, and after that, perhaps we will be seeing something new. So without further ado, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the future.